Okay, so welcome back to another episode of the Biohacker Blondie podcast. I'm here with Kim, and you are the CEO and founder of Sniff Nutrition. And we're going to get all into DNA, which this is such a confusing topic. A lot of people do DNA tests. They don't know where to go. They don't know really how to take action when they receive their DNA testing. So I love to get into genetics, genes, everything, a little more, scientific on that side. But I'm so excited for this podcast. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be on the podcast. And if you can give like a little introduction, how you got into DNA testing. And we have to go over all the terms of DNA, genes, chromosomes, SNPs. Like, what do all those mean? So, welcome.
Thank you, Jenny. It's so great to see you. It's so great to be here. So thanks for having me. My story ultimately, I think, is a lot like a lot of stories that people have. They're going through life, everything's good, you're eating well, you're exercising, but suddenly you don't feel well. And your blood work looks normal, so they send you out the door and you feel very deflated because they're not finding the answers, right? That was ultimately the start of my journey, my health journey, which started in 2007, 2008.
Well,
Yeah. After the birth of my baby girl, I didn't feel well. And I was told I had postpartum depression. And I was like, I'm not depressed. I just don't feel good. What can I do? Well, your blood work looks normal. And so it was literally year by year by year. The symptoms just kept compounding. It was one year it was one thing, the next year, and they kept compounding where it was like, what is this? I mean, at the time I was in my early 40s and I was just like it was like a flip of a light switch. You didn't feel well, you didn't sleep well, there was no energy, sex drive was to nothing. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable talking about a lot of things, and it was just like, what happened? And so, I tried everything in the book. I went on a complete Ayurveda diet for a year. I went vegan. I did crazy cleanse.
wow.
I did crazy cleanses. I was doing everything and spending a lot of money, trying to feel better. And it wasn't until my daughter, or not my daughter, but one of my best friends told me that her son was diagnosed with ADHD and she refused to put him on medication. She thought there was a gene that could possibly impact that. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. I wonder if this could be the answer for me. Well, you said it. I mean, it's complicated, it's confusing, it's always been expensive. The science is out there, but to start mapping genes, it is a very time consuming, very expensive process. And, I mean, we all don't have endless budgets. We just don't. And we were getting ready to start this process, and this technology virtually, I will have to say, landed in my lap. I mean, I literally think it was gifted to me. Uh, what I like to
I
say,
love that.
I do. I feel it was more of a um, I don't know, it more of a, God said, "Hey, you've got to take this
Yeah.
and share this technology." And again, I didn't create it. It originally came from the Human Genome Project of looking at actionable genes, and we're going to talk about actionable genes, but when I first addressed my own self, when I first saw my genetics, I was like, oh my gosh, I was scared. But I'm telling you, I think the beauty of going after actionable genes and a genomic approach is it's actually eye opening. It's that sifter to tell you where to focus and what to do. But when I first addressed my genetics with my customized product, I really felt, is this a placebo effect? Have I been feeling, have I really, is this been in my head that I didn't feel well? And because I felt amazing suddenly. And month one was great. Month two wasn't as good. I think my body was going through some repair and some detox. But by the end of month four, it was like I literally felt back to before the 10, 11 years prior to that. I felt amazing. And I had to take that technology and I started sharing it with every provider that I knew. And the ones that really got it were the geneticists. They're like, wow, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this. And so that's kind of the start. I've been working with my technology for 7 years now. Worked with it in a different capacity for the first 4 years. Uh, and I decided that I needed to kind of up level and do some things differently. So I launched Snip in 2022. We've been around for 3 years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I didn't know it was so recent either. So back in, you said 2007?
That's when my health journey started. I didn't have access. I didn't have access to this technology until 2018.
Okay. And then what did you do when you started having access to the DNA, started researching? What did you change? Because you didn't have the supplement, making your own supplement. So is this something you started to do,
No,
changing
it
your
was
diet?
no, it was well, I mean, first, I mean, it was the supplement. It was the supplement that ultimately literally started changing everything for me. I was just like, my energy's better. My sleep's better. Oh my gosh, my digestion. I'm not, it was literally chronically, I will say chronically constipated. That had been going on for years. I mean, I was going and doing PEMF, which you probably are familiar with that technology, which I love, but I was doing it
Yeah.
5 days a week. And I mean, is that unless you have one of those units at your home, is that really sustainable long term? So I was doing all kinds of things, you know, to quote unquote make myself feel better.
Yeah.
When
Trying everything.
I did, I tried everything. But when I so in 2018, I was introduced to my technology, which had the ability to do the custom compound. I will tell you, I it literally it was like it was those light switches going back on and I felt amazing again. So,
Wow.
yeah, and it's not a miracle. It's just the fact that we are designed and we have genes and you remember I was pregnant when some of this started. So something
Hmm.
maybe was it stress, was it, the body changing, etc. Did something change to make those genes that maybe dealt with my inflammation or my methylation or whatever, trigger them and make them so that they weren't optimized. That's why, and then it was just that cascade effect, if that makes sense. So, and
Yeah.
then when I address them with the proper nutrition, because everything that we do is based on science, and I know we're kind of jumping around here, but ultimately like I said, it was like the light switches started going back on, and after like 4 months of addressing these pathways or these genetic weaknesses that I have, I
Hmm.
felt amazing. I mean, that's been years ago, and I still feel amazing, if that makes sense. Yeah,
Do you think, like, after pregnancy or something stressful can flip those genes that switch? Because you can clip them on and off. So do you think like a stressful situation turns off the good ones and maybe turns on the bad ones that we don't want? And so that might have caused some of those reactions after a stressful into your physical or mental. This can happen to people.
absolutely. I mean, if you think of how I start to describe nutrigenomics to people, if you think about it, when you came out of your mother's womb, when you were born, you didn't come out of your mother's unless you had a rare genetic disease. You didn't come out of your mother's womb with anxiety, depression,
Yeah.
high homocysteine. You didn't come out with all kinds of nutrient deficiencies. Well, hopefully you didn't, but you know what I'm saying. You didn't come out of there with eczema and things that are created from inflammation, etc. So we go
I
through
know.
life. We go through life, and we inherit our propensities from our parents. They're not bad and they're not scary. There's just
Yeah,
to tell us, they're just to be that guiding factor of, hey, these things would be good for you. And what nutrigenomics then takes it, because so many people take supplements, right?
I know.
And
I
and
take a
we're
lot.
and we're listening to the next person that said, "Oh, this worked for them." But truly, and then you take it and you're like, "It didn't work for me." And you're going, "Well, why did it do miracles for her? Why is her energy through the roof and why is whatever, but it didn't do any." Well, that's our genetics. So we truly aren't what we eat. We are what we absorb, and what we've inherited from our parents makes that difference. So that baby, when we're little, and then we start to grow, we get exposed to chemicals and epoxides, things in the air, maybe a forest fire. stress, finals in school, whatever, those can trigger those genes from functioning optimally to because you have that variant to not. So nutrigenomics just comes in to keep those genes functioning optimally.
So there's definitely, I don't know if we want to go over some terms first,
Oh, yeah.
because
Okay.
DNA is very complicated. And it's like, I don't think people realize that your chromosomes, I've done a little bit of research. I like to like are in every cell. And it's like, we have a lot of DNA, right? I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like trillions or something of just
Hundreds and
DNA.
hundreds and hundreds of thousands of genes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
DNA.
variants, correct.
Yeah. So it gets so complicated, and it's, and then we have the chromosomes, and then, and then can you also explain what SNPs are?
Okay. So SNPs, it stands for, hence the name of the company, SNP, right? It
Yeah.
stands for single nucleotide polymorphism. So we use the word interchangeably with the gene, right? Just to make it simple. What these are they are your instruction manual, and they are, you may have heard of them as glitches, mutations, genetic variances, weaknesses. Like you hear oh, I've got a mutation. Well,
Hmm.
you've got something different. It's basically a little typo that in your instruction manual that says, hey, I can't take and process folic acid and turn it into the bioactive format. So think we know what to do and skip over it and now give you the bioactive format of folate versus the folic acid, because folic acid
Hmm.
can really impact some people, right? Actually, a lot of people.
A lot. I know. It's like 40 or 60% or something have this gene variant.
I think it's higher.
Is this, and people will never discover this, and this can impact your whole life of like methylation, everything, energy, like, and I
It
mean,
turns
my
it turns
parents,
it turns on and off everything.
yeah. And I'm like, please just figure out. I tell my parents too, because I have the gene variant, of course. And I'm like, you guys need to be taking methylated B vitamins. Like, and it's hard for people to understand how important this is. I am like, and so it changed my homocysteine levels. My homocysteine went way down. Like, I think a lot of people struggle with this and never get to the bottom or the root of what's going on. So that's a big one. What did you do? You said that in the beginning you were working with a kid that had ADHD.
No, actually, no, that's just how I first learned about nutrigenomics, from a mom
Okay.
that was taking
Okay.
her son to a naturopath that was doing this. I watched her spend $10,000 in 9 months to address the methylation pathway.
Wow. Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that could affect your anxiety or depression or anything. And even I believe my mom said, when she was pregnant with me and after, they gave her folic acid as an injection or something after pregnancy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she probably has the gene variant. They didn't know that back then because, DNA just started in 2000, I believe. And we're just getting progressing more and more. But it's like, you know, they were giving this to people. Folic acid was, I guess, the common in hospitals. And so that could have done a lot of, damage, maybe anxiety. She did have some of that. And I always wonder. So let's get into your whole protocol, which I love because you're taking the gene variants that you can actually do something. And a lot of people are like, okay, I have, ApoE, more risk factor to Alzheimer's, more risk factor to breast cancer. Are you checking these gene variants?
No. Mm-mm.
Which
I
is so
want
crazy.
I want to check. Okay, so our panel is very thoughtful on what we do. Okay. I am going after the heaviest hitting actionable genes that impact your metabolic health. So your heart health, your mood, your cognitive function, the energy, your body's ability to detox, your immune resilience, your propensities for inflammation. I want to look at the most highly actionable, which means that science has proven very specifically, and methylation's part of all of that. The science has proven very specifically there are specific plant-based nutrition, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients in the right format, in the right dose, when you have these variants that can support for a better health outcome. So it's not throwing darts. It's suddenly, hey, and what these pathways, when you said the APOE, we don't go after the APOE, but you know, ultimately, Alzheimer's is seen as what, type 3 diabetic? A
Yeah.
diabetic's brain looks similar to a Alzheimer's patient. So I'm going after these systems of the body that are the brain and cognitive function, et cetera, that can support the body to stay healthy as a whole.
Yeah. And I think a lot of this is, breast cancer, Alzheimer's. It's definitely making sure your system is properly functioning. It's not, oh, I'm going to get Alzheimer's because now I have ApoE. It's or a little bit more of a risk factor. It's always about, sustaining a balance in your body and providing the nutrients and everything to function its best. So there's so many gene variants. I don't think a lot of people know. I want to go over some. We went over a little bit of MTHFR. Is there any for metabolism? That's a big one. People, and I actually have something where I take chromium picoline and berberine to help with the appetite. Um, you want to go over that, Jean?
Sure. I mean, I'm happy to, but I think, but you right now, and in the beauty of what I do versus what you're talking about, you're going after single genes.
Yeah,
They all start working together. They all start working together. So we want to get the systems working. So
yeah,
genes don't play alone. They play in this big, beautiful symphony together. So you're talking about the FTO gene, which is a body mass index gene, about that berberine, right?
yeah.
So we do look at FTO genes, two FTO genes that we custom formulate on. And yeah, we know the exact nutrients, the dihydroberberine, alpha lipoic acid, that we can put into because when somebody has markers on that gene, we know that even if they have one marker, they have if that gene's not optimized, if it's not functioning properly, we have the propensity to eat 25% more calories before we feel satiated. We crave more salty, sugary, fatty foods.
Mm.
So we can sit and we can go gene after gene after gene, but we're hitting the heaviest hitters all together that impact all those body systems, and they all start working together. So you can't just go after one. Just like with methylation, you just can't take the methylated vitamins. To really get the full benefit, you need to address oxidative stress. You need to also address inflammation. And how do you do that? That's ultimately where we cut all that out. And we've done all the research for you. And we know exactly based on your genetics what you need, why you need it, in the format, in the dose, with the right cofactors.
And it's crazy because you make a formulation that's specific for each individual,
Yeah, we do.
which is insane. I don't know how that works, but I mean, uh, personalization is so key. And I think we're going to get there more and more, uh, with our biomarkers, with wearables and everything. But you've done this with DNA. So can you give, because I saw like prebiotics and other things in there. So how do you choose based off of DNA? Like how do you, prebiotics, for example, how
So
does that correlate to our DNA gene variant?
so we start with a base of the product. And this is how I can make upwards of 3 billion formulas. The base of the product has prebiotics and digestive enzymes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and depending on, and then it also has a whole bunch of it's got acerola cherry powder extract in it. That's the
What is that?
acerola cherry powder extract,
Okay.
the natural
Interesting.
format of vitamin C.
Mm.
Mixed carotenes are the natural format of vitamin A. There's a magical and synergistic, and not only that, all of these whole foods. So The base of the product itself is whole food based. We come from a philosophy. Prebiotics help grow the gut bacteria healthy, right? Digestive enzymes help you absorb the nutrition better and flush out what you don't need. And then we put all of these other whole foods in there because they have properties in them, whether they have micro nutrients of magnesium and other, things in them that will support you. And then after that, we look at the genetic markers and that base, that whole food based formula it ultimately varies based on the genetic variants you have on 22 of the genes that we custom compound for.
Okay. Is I saw adaptogens. Is that for gene or is that the base?
Adaptogens, I believe, are in both the base and depending on genes. Yeah.
Interesting. So if someone, I don't know, if like a lion's mane or something, is there anything for our the functioning of our brain that we would see with certain gene variants?
Um, that's a good question. When you say, I mean,
Yeah. I guess you could say depression or anxiety or focus. I mean, it's a very
well,
broad
I think
question.
again, they all start working together. And when you're
Yeah.
getting methylation and oxidative stress and inflammation and gut markers and um, genes that impact the energy in our body, and you're moving them all together, we can't just go after one ingredient for one gene. It doesn't work that way. They all,
Yeah.
so it's a very thoughtful formula. In general, of the nutrients, they're highly studied. Everything's based on science, but understanding here's your foundational formula. Is it the end all be all? No, it's not. But I'm here to cut. This is your base. Like, here's what it looks like. That one's made for me, right? My name on it.
Oh.
It is
And
meant.
you've been taking this for since 2018?
I have.
Okay, every day. And it's changed your life. Wow. Okay. I know because I think a lot of people would also want to know how long should I be taking this?
Well, until I can perfect everything epigenetically, until I can perfect absolutely everything, until I am not getting any chemicals from the air, until and I can eat. I think we've actually taken this to food because a lot of people go, "Oh, I don't want to take a supplement," even though we know approximately 80% of the adult population takes supplements daily, right? But
Mhm.
eh, I think I would have to eat, I think 16 servings of salmon to get the amount of vitamin D, and that's daily. I can't remember how 13 or 14 cups of spinach. We've taken it, we've translated it from food to the amount of nutrients that I need for my genetic variants, and there's no way I could eat like that. I couldn't eat 13 to 16 cups of spinach every day. I couldn't eat 16 servings of vitamin or of salmon daily. So
This
that's why people do supplement, but we need to supplement smarter. We need to supplement for ourselves instead
yeah.
of, oh, this worked. And then after that, and let's just say, is this the only thing I take? No, I take a couple of other things, but this is my go to hardcore day in, day out. That's my foundation. There are a few other things that I like you're the biohacker. You'll try something and you'll go, "Oh, my body really reacted really well to that. That really supported." Or I watch and track my blood work too. So
Mm.
if my provider told me a few months ago after looking at my heart rate variability, "Hey, you've got all the I have all the heart markers, right?" I do. And she said, "You really would benefit from a complex omega." Well, I have simple omegas in here, but I'm not the complex. So I take a complex omega in addition to my customized.
Okay. What is a complex omega?
A complex omega, well, they're usually in liquid format, right? Um,
Okay.
um, I'm I'm a powder product. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, she had done my heart rate variability and she said, "Kim, you're stressed all the time. I can see that." And, blah, blah, blah. So whatever. So yeah, I mean, that's something that's virtually, I want to make people's stacks shorter instead of bigger. And, I was just on the phone with somebody doing a report review a little while ago. And she's like, I have at least 25 bottles sitting on my countertop.
Oh, I have my whole kitchen covered or supplements.
Right. And then you're going, okay, the protocol. I'm not going to be a protocol for a specific condition. I'm here to hit and cover you foundationally. And then you can do the biohacking or see where you are in a point in time that, hey, I see that I'm struggling right here, right now. I might use this peptide for a month or whatever it may be.
Oh, DNA, uh, personalized peptide DNA is your new company.
No, 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 I don't think so. No, this is everybody doesn't realize truly. I mean, we can make upwards of 3 billion formulas, and the complexity to get to this point, and it will continue to advance, but the complexity to get to this point, um, I've taken my personalized formula to a compounding pharmacy, and I've handed it to them, and I said, "Can you make this for me?" And they said, "Yeah, give us a couple days." And they got back to me and they said, "We can make it. It'll be $650, and we
And this
can't
is
get
not how
all."
much yours is.
No. And they go, "We can't get all the ingredients because you've got a lot of registered trademarked ingredients." In other words, they didn't have agreements to get these ingredients. And we like to source the best of the best ingredients, and we use a lot of registered trademarked ingredients because they've got all of the studies behind them and the proving
Yeah.
point, right? So,
Yeah, because even your formulation is very clean. It looks like, it's amazing manufacturing. It's not like coming from China that you see all these supplements on Amazon or anything.
yeah. Yeah.
So so some common gene variants, I don't think people realize. Can you go over a little bit of the detox pathways? I think that's a big one for people that they don't realize they need to pay attention more to maybe increasing glutathione or, opening the detox pathways because it's stuck and there's a gene variant for that.
Right. Well, there's multiple gene variants. Again, methylation absolutely impacts your detox. But then you've got EPHX1 is phase one detoxification. It's how your body, your brain, your liver, your lungs, your gut, it's how they handle epoxides. And if you've got genetic variants there, we just need to support them to keep that pathway going. And then you've got the master glutathione gene, which is your GSTP1. That's oxidative stress. That's how we detox through our mucosal membrane. And we want to make sure that do you have variants there? Do you need support there? Then there's the PON1. That's how you detox the LDL cholesterol. So these are
Wait,
all.
what? Wait, go. Okay, everyone's struggling with cholesterol. My friend, I won't say his name, but all of his cholesterol biomarkers were out of range. So just quickly, I want to hear about this
Okay.
cholesterol one
So,
and what to do.
so
I
we,
guess
we,
order
we look
this.
at, so remember, we can sit here and keep talking about gene, but they all
Yeah.
start playing in symphony. So we look at
I,
the
I just
APO.
want people to realize the different gene variants because there are, I understand that they all are connecting together and you created this, but I just want people to realize that if they have high cholesterol, it might be their gene variant, or if they are not detoxing, it might be their gene variant. So, I just wanted to kind of let the audience or people listening know that certain genes are impacting all these things, and that's why your biomarkers might be off.
And you actually have control over them when you know what your variants are. That's what's pretty beautiful about this. So we look at a gene called the APOB. It's the main, it regulates the main protein component of the LDL cholesterol. So that's the bad one. Cholesterol's not a bad thing, but we got to keep it in check, right? We need
Mhm.
cholesterol in our body. But we look at the APOB and we look and we know that specific nutrition that's needed if you've got markers on it to help optimize it. That gene's also very important for cell communication and cell repair, the cell wall.
Mm.
Okay, so that's one. Then we start going through like all of these other pathways, and then we get to the PON1. The PON1 is lipid oxidation support. So it's kind of like
Oh,
it's how you detox the bad cholesterol. And do you have variants there? And do you need support there? And then we can see based on that PON1. And yes, that's something that's very commonly uh, reported. And I've got tons of before and after blood work of reducing that LDL. Again, this isn't a magic pill. We can't go
Yeah.
eat 6 McDonald's Big Macs every day.
Yeah.
But if we can help optimize our pathways, because I'll give you another story. I remember a few years ago, somebody came to me in their young 30s. And so we report in colors. We don't give you the gibberish jabberish of heterozygous, homozygous, like green meaning no variant, yellow meaning one variant, red meaning two, just so you can see quickly and easily. And I had somebody in their young 30s come to me and she said, my DNA results are not correct. I'm in my young 30s and my cholesterol is through the roof. I go, again, you can't look at one gene. I said, so let's
Mm,
look down through and we get down to the PON1 and she's red on it. So even though her APOB has the propensity to function optimally, the the gene with the two variants, the PON1 of how she's detoxing it, I mean, it right then and there, I said to her, your body's having a hard time detoxing the bad cholesterol. Not only that, you should probably be eating a Mediterranean diet. She goes, oh, my doctor just told me this. I mean, if you're struggling, there's little changes we can make by understanding. So we, and in reality, you're not going to become the genetic wizard. Nobody, I mean, you were going to school to become a geneticist. So
yeah.
I've done the research. I know the genes that are the heaviest hitting, and we put together this entire panel to address you for a whole body wellness at a foundational level that impacts cognitive function, mood, methylation, detox, inflammation, immune resilience, energy, gut health, body mass index, and I'm missing one other. But we go, all of the genes impact all those body systems.
Mhm. I know it's very complicated. I've done a lot of research with I've had my 23andMe raw data. And I've even heard like we don't even know a lot of gene variants yet. Like there's so much still out there to be discovered.
Yes, you
So
are correct, and they're finding more and more. I think I mean, I think when I first started working with genetics, I think there were a little over 120 actionable genes. So, okay, so let's talk actionable versus non-actionable, just so everybody understands what we're talking about. Non-actionable would be your eye color.
okay,
Non-actionable will be what makes you the height you are.
okay.
Okay? I can't suddenly give you something to make you go from
You
5
can't
foot
turn
tall
on that gene.
6'1", right? Okay. But there are genes that impact all those body systems of why and what we need and how our body absorbs and utilizes nutrition that tells us to optimize. There's hundreds and hundreds of stories of studies that have told us exactly, the APOB gene. You need polyphenols and catechins from the green tea, not the caffeine, but artichoke extract, a grape skin extract. Those are nutrients that have been proven to optimize that gene's expression.
My gosh, this is and I feel like you've developed a system because no one really wants to go down the rabbit hole of genetics and DNA because it's so complicated. So everyone wants like this easy system, which you provide. I'm like, okay, this is amazing. I also, you mentioned when we were together in Miami about coffee. Can you talk about that one?
Coffee. Okay, so there's the gene, the CYP1A2, right? Okay. And it's your caffeine metabolism. We do report on it, but I can't formulate differently on it. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I can do, it'd be just the same as there's gluten genes and that tell me my propensity to have a problem with gluten or with dairy, but the caffeine gene. So let's talk about that caffeine gene. If you don't have variants, more than likely you can metabolize coffee really well. If you've got one variant, you're probably that person by the middle of the day. If you're drinking coffee, you might be up really late. And then if you've got two variants, you really struggle with metabolizing coffee. And did you know that for some of those people, it can make them gain weight?
And I think that happens maybe quite a bit. Is this a common gene variant?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everything that we go after are highly common. They appear the most often in the human population, and they impact us in adult onset disease. So let's talk about that. I'm not going after disease genes. I'm going after genes that impact adult onset disease, and we keep all these pathways going and working optimally. Then watch what happens with your blood work. Watch what happens with your heart rate variability. Write symptom trackers. How is that sleep? How is that energy? How are your bowel movements? You know, I'm in my mid 50s now. Okay. I'm
Wow.
going to give you a big symptom that I suddenly was plagued with. And this is for all those women out there. Okay. So I was in my early 40s and suddenly the hot flashes and night sweats were atrocious.
Mm.
Early 40s. So now I've learned what I've learned. I'm in my mid 50s. I don't get those. I haven't gotten them since I've addressed my genetics. Okay. So let's talk about that. I'm not saying that's going to be the case for everybody, but I've talked to a lot of providers and many hormone specialists. And believe me, I'm not saying that hormone replacement's bad because different people we all are different. That's what makes us so unique. But for me, my metabolic health was off. And providers will tell me if your metabolic health is off, you're more prone for those problems. I'm coming in at the foundation to bring you back to factory settings. So the only time I may have any night sweats is maybe if I'm fighting. That's when our bodies go into rest, repair, and recovery. That might be the only time I would have a quote unquote night sweat at this point. I don't. Other than that, I mean, I remember how brutal they were. And I will tell you, according to my FSH numbers, I'm through. I'm totally in menopause. And I'm not
Mm.
I don't I feel very grateful. I have no brain fog, um no fatigue, um none of those other symptoms.
I know. I I want to hear also, you have so many amazing stories. So can you tell us like everything you're hearing from everyone who's doing, taking your supplements? What are people seeing? Are they sleeping better? Are they have more energy? What are you hearing? And do most people stay on the supplements?
Okay, those are great questions, truly. I have to start with myself versus my husband. I feel it. My husband doesn't quote unquote feel it. He never has. His blood work looks drastically different though.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
So remember, some people, he's like, I don't care about the science. I want to know it's made for me. I want to age the best I can and I want to feel good. And he does.
Hmm.
Okay. But remember, I was struggling.
Yeah.
Um, so you've got all kinds of people that want to take this product for different reasons. Is it for longevity? Is it for you're struggling? Is it you're trying to get to the root of what's going on? So yes, commonly reported? Much better sleep,
Mm.
waking up feeling refreshed, um, better energy and a good burn energy through the day because now you're getting the proper B vitamins. There's no caffeine in my product. People will go, oh my gosh, there's green tea in it. There's no traceable caffeine. So if you are getting energy, it is from the proper B vitamins you're finally getting. Um, uh, Sugar cravings gone. But blood work looks much better. Um,
Cholesterol down,
Cholesterol.
LDL.
We've got we've been provided numerous before and after with cholesterol numbers. Some people do Nutri-evals, brain fog, joint mobility, just every day, even when we eat or when we process, we are creating byproducts in our bodies that need to be expelled, right?
Hmm.
We are creating that. You can't, I mean, it's part of it. It's part of I'm not a scientist. So, I mean, but when you eat something, when it breaks down and it does this, we create byproducts. We need to make sure we are getting rid of those things. When, so if the body, like I don't have a lot of inflammatory markers, but,
Mm.
or detox markers for that matter. But I'm very, so now you're understanding I'm highly impacted by that methylation pathway. So that was my issue in getting rid of things. So what other things? Mood stability. We so many beautiful stories. Mood stability. We have some really, really amazing stories. I can't even probably I can't really say because it sounds like a medical claim, and we're a supplement. We're here to support your body at a foundational level so your body can do what it needs to do. So
Yeah.
we do have some beautiful Nutri evals, not from us. Nutri evals done by Genova Diagnostics.
Mm.
Um, and it's showing the nutrients. It's a blood and urine test in the cell prior and then after, and it's looking at mitochondrial function, omegas, which is impacts inflammation. It's looking at methylation, oxidative stress, and the body's ability to detox. It literally, it and before and after on our product, it's like night and day when somebody gets on our product. We've seen it over and over.
Well, so a lot of nutrient deficiencies too might change and you will be an optimal level. Because yeah, I wonder, I've always struggled with iodine and iron. Is there any variance, or do you think it's just because of everything connecting? Is there anything specific to that?
Tell me how you've struggled with iron.
I've always had, well, I have low ferritin now. And I've been hospitalized because I've had no iron before. I'm not sure if that was, mold and other things that was leaky gut, all that. But I think it does somewhat run in the family. So yeah, I've always struggled with like keeping my iron
So
up and my hemoglobin.
we've been tracking a lady for 3 years now. She used to have to go get 5 iron infusions over
Yeah,
a
this is
over a 2 week
common.
over a 2 week period, every 3 to 6 months. Since she's been on her custom, and she had already done genetic mapping, she was already addressing her methylation pathway. Since she's been on her customized product, she has not had to have an iron injection or an infusion. So remember, when if you have a true if it is a methylation issue, if you address it properly, the body starts absorbing the nutrients. We don't put iron in there. Iron may be like a little tiny bit of a micronutrient from something else, but we don't supplement with iron. You
Wow.
address the pathway properly. She's absorbing iron from the food she eats now. She has not had to have an iron injection, and I've got the entire grid of all of her results over the last 3 years.
So it's an absorption issue from your food.
But it's because of the methylation pathway.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I
So
know. It's
you can't just address methylation. You have to hit the oxidative stress, and there's other micronutrients your body,
it's an
is.
imbalance basically. And so you're
Mhm.
just making it all balanced to do what it's supposed to do.
If you think, I mean, we were created, and we were created in God's eyes, right? I hate to say this, but we are such complex, amazing beings,
It's
and
insane.
but if you give us the right nutrients, the body does amazing things. It
Yeah.
just does. So that's why we use the science and all these whole foods. Like you heard me, the APOB. We use green tea extract, the
Mm,
polyphenols and the catechins. We use
hmm.
grape skin extract, artichoke extract, and I think there's one other plant-based nutrition in that. Sorry, I don't remember the entire formula. Anyway, but those are whole foods, and they've all
Yeah.
been clinically validated to help support that gene when you've got variants on it. Well, where are you going to get all those things? I mean, so that's why we put them all together, and we do it and we dose it just for the person.
Yeah. Do you in the report, do you suggest any type of diet?
We tell you things of consider adopting this, do this. Dry brushing would be good for you, etc. They're very Yes, we give lifestyle tips. But it's not specific for you. You're going to want to eat this, 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 and this. We aren't that. It's not, but we do give lifestyle tips.
Okay. Like, I'm always curious if there's certain genes, like I should stay away from fat, or anyone listening, maybe they should stay away from fat. They should stay away from more of a keto. Like, I've listened to Mark Hyman, and he's like, some people do really well on keto or a low, carb diet, and some people don't. I mean, some people, all their biomarkers might go off on a keto diet, and it's not healthy for them. So are there certain genes too for diet and more fat, more, meat, more, I don't know.
That would get into much more complex. I mean, in working with like somebody that totally go through this with you. I mean, there's certain things I can actually pull out and see. Oh, like I told you, markers here with high cholesterol, Mediterranean diet, definitely. FTO markers, also
Mm,
dictate some of that. I am not
yeah,
I'm not a candidate for keto. I do not do well on it. I have to have some carbs. I have to. I
yeah,
I have tried and I have tried and I have tried, and when it's those FTO genes markers there, I still, for me, I need to eat. I need to eat in moderation, and I need to keep the cravings down, right? And
yeah.
so, yeah.
I know I interviewed the founder. I don't know if you've heard of Bioptimizers, but his partner and for Bioptimizers, he does full keto, more carnivore, and he does full like fiber and in a vegan diet. And he said, before DNA was here, he intuitively listened to his body, and he always felt like, so he does a lot of vegetables, a lot of like, and that's how his system works. And then when he did the DNA, it all made sense too. It all correlated. So a lot of the times we want to go to these diets because Instagram or TikTok or whatever someone's claiming this diet works for them, but it might not work for everyone because
Right.
of their genes.
That's true. That is absolutely true. And we haven't gotten to the point of taking it all and saying, based on this, you should, that'll come in due time. I mean,
Yeah.
we do give recommendations about, their broad recommendations and their tips and things like that. Hey, nutrition's one spoke in the wheel. It is one spoke in the wheel. Um, Health is already complicated as enough as it is. So that's one. I'm just trying to make that step in very simple, right? Understanding, but we need fresh air. We need good, clean water. We need our source to our higher connection. We need our mind to be right, right? Our mindset. And we need community. And we need to eat healthy. I mean, there's all these little spokes. So if we can make little adjustments and changes slowly by first understanding our genetics and our strengths and weaknesses, it saves us time, money, and energy is what it does.
Yeah. Can you go over your system, how it works? So anyone who's listening and wants to order, how long does this take? What do they do? What is the whole procedure?
Okay. So you will order a DNA test. We are completely HIPAA compliant, CLIA certified and CAP accredited lab. We own our own panel there. Just wanted to put that out there. We are only testing actionable genes. So we test 103 and we report on 103 genes. But what you would do is you'd order a DNA test. It's an at-home simple cheek swab, very simple and easy to do. Send it into the lab. It takes about 3 weeks. To receive your results. We alert you, they're in your portal. At that point, you get 13 reports. So you get a summary report, a code report that tells you exactly how we're going to formulate for you. And then we break it down into body system. So if you are struggling, we want to help you be that sifter to go to your provider and say, look, I've been struggling here and I did this test and I've got all of these markers in the detox panel, or, uh, you know, or if that's what you want, or you can just start taking the customized yourself. So after that, you have the ability to order your own customized formula. Like I said, it is made live and fresh when you order it. We can make
Wow.
upwards of, yeah, we can make up, yeah, it doesn't sit on a shelf. It does not sit on a shelf. Based on the variants that we do, we can make upwards of 3 billion different formulas. So it goes through a batching and compounding process. And every time before I ship it out, it has to go to third party testing. That's the third time the product's third party tested before it gets to you.
Wow.
Mhm.
And this, you're not providing raw data. I know 23andMe or some might provide raw data, but people can take their data also and input it into your system,
Yep.
correct?
Yes, they can. They can input the 22 RS numbers. There's videos and instruction on exactly which 22 RS numbers we need. You're not going to get all 13 reports. You're going to get you're going to get the code report telling you how we're going to formulate, a summary report,
Okay.
and your supplement fact panel. So it's the step over, like, hey, I've already got my genetics. I just want my customized formula, and you can do data entry on the website. That is correct.
Okay, cool. So you see all this data, and is there anything that people should be aware of? Like, what are you seeing the most common gene variants that people should think about? MTHFR, I know, is like a big one. Are there any other few that we should be really aware of, like top three?
Another one I think is super, super important is the vitamin D receptor. We actually formulate on
Uh,
4 of them. Vitamin D impacts 6,000 biochemical pathways in your body. And low vitamin D levels are related to all-cause mortality. In other words, I mean, it just goes hand in hand. So there are different genes. There's 4 vitamin D receptors that we test and we formulate on. Understanding, are you the person that can get in the sun and can you convert that really well? Then how does it get moved and transported into your kidneys or your liver, then to be released in your body, et cetera. So based on your results, we know how much vitamin D you need on a daily basis to keep healthy vitamin D levels.
wow. I know. And these are so common. This is why people always wonder why they have low vitamin D or low iron or certain things that are just high cholesterol. They say it runs in the family, but no one's thinking, oh, I have that certain gene variant.
Yeah. Other ones that are common, I mean, all of these are very common. Like, what's your immune resilience? A lot of people get on our product. They're like, I haven't been sick since I've been on the product. Or that common and frequent cold that I get 4 times a year, I'm bouncing back quicker. I don't lag, or I don't, it doesn't keep me down as long. When you get everything, because remember, you twist your ankle and it gets inflamed. Inflammation is good when it's needed, but the body needs to know when to shut it off. So we look at genes that do on both sides, and we want to just help balance you out. And as I say, bring you back to factory settings, give your body what it needs so the body can do what it needs to do.
Well, this is just so, I was like, when I met you, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of anything like this. I've done some DNA testing. I've had to do a lot of research and time and energy to kind of figure out, what should I do? Because a lot of the times they don't say, hey, now you need to do something with this.
But I think the other thing that makes that so confusing for people, if you've done genetic testing and you looked at it and you have the COMT gene, which is the warrior
Hmm.
gene, and it'll say, if you've got this, um, uh, don't take this. But then if you've got another gene, it says take this, right? And so you're like, wait, now I'm conflicted. One gene says I can't take it, but now over here it says I need it. Dosing matters. That's the other thing.
Mm,
Dosing is so crucially important. And when you're doing that, how would you even know how to dose yourself? That's the
yeah.
other thing we got locked down. So we can see all of that, and we can see based on that, what the dose, and we microdose. So the body recognizes food, the body knows what to do with it, and we're seeing all kinds of results.
Wow, that's so amazing. So, where can everyone go find you? It's snipnutrition.com, I believe, or what is your website and Instagram?
The website is snipnutrition.com. Um,
Okay,
and then the Instagram is at Snip Nutrition.
okay.
The name of the
Amazing.
company is Snip Nutrigenomics, but most people can't spell Nutrigenomics, so the website's Snip Nutrition. SNI
Okay.
it's
So that's why
SNI
it's nutrition.
yeah, snipnutrition.com. Ultimately, I mean, there's a lot of great genetic testing companies out there. There are. We're focused specifically on how we can give you, we're focused on solutions. What is the solution?
Yeah.
Giving you a customized product for that foundational. We do report on additional genes. And we do give you those. They're not in a complete raw data format. We've kind of taken them a little bit further to tell you what your gene variants are, what the allele is. We take you back to the NIH so you can see, and we give you what the broad function is of the gene. So we do give you additional, and the reason we did that is we are working with a lot of cancer and autism doctors, and they wanted to see a few other pathways and different things. So that way, this is the customized formula. But now, if they are dealing with somebody with a very specific condition or case, they can look at some other genes as well. And we know we
Amazing.
impact a lot of those genes and we do education around those. We impact them. It's just not where the science that, there's how much stuff can one person take? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And you have a special discount code set up for me, right?
I
It's
do.
for all the listeners who want to try this. It's
There's,
BHB.
yep, BHB50
Okay.
will give them $50 off, whether they want to do the DNA test or any of the packages with the customized in them right up front.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. I'm so excited. This is such a great podcast. So I haven't really done much on gene variants. So I'm so excited to get this out there. So
But in
thank
my
you.
opinion, and we all, I think, we all are wanting to live feeling the best that we can, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
complicated. I'm here just to bring your foundational nutrition to a single jar, single, easy to use, not crazy, take this before breakfast, this with, this after, this before lunch. I don't, that's too complicated. There may be other
Yeah.
protocols that, through life or a specific condition or case that let's say you went to a foreign country, whatever, you worrywart and you developed H. pylori, that's going to be a different protocol. I'm here to cover you and hit you foundationally is what and to support the body to be more optimized.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy this. So thanks for coming on.
No, thank you, Jenny. It's been great to see you again.